as we have already discussed, right against exploitation. In right against exploitation, we have two important articles, that is Article 23 and Article 24. Here, Article 23 prohibits forced labor, bonded labor, trafficking in human beings. Human beings include men, women, children, any person. So we've talked about trafficking in human beings is immoral, illegal. We have prohibited such activities under Article 23. Under Article 24, we focus specially on children. This article talks about children. Children under the age of 14 years, and when we say adolescents, between 14 and 18 years of age. సో ఈ ఆర్టికల్ 24 అనేది పిల్లల గురించి మాట్లాడుతుంది. ఆర్టికల్ 23 అనేది అందరూ హ్యూమన్ బీయింగ్స్. సో హ్యూమన్ బీయింగ్స్ ఇస్ ఆర్టికల్ 23 అనేది ఎక్స్ప్లాయిట్కి అగేన్స్ట్గా మనకు ఆర్టికల్ ఉంటుంది. ఇది చిల్డ్రన్స్ని కొన్ని పరిస్థితిలో ఎక్కడ హజార్డస్ అంటే డేంజరస్ ఉన్న సిచ్యువేషన్స్లో వర్క్ చేయించకూడదు. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ కన్స్ట్రక్షన్ వర్క్ కానివ్వండి, రైల్వేస్, పోర్ట్స్, మైనింగ్స్, బీడీ అండ్ సిగరెట్ కంపెనీస్, అలాంటి హజార్డస్ ప్లేసెస్లో పిల్లల్ని ఎంప్లాయ్ చేయకూడదు అనేది ఈ ఆర్టికల్ యొక్క ఉద్దేశం. వీ హ్యావ్ ప్రొహిబిటెడ్ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ చిల్డ్రన్ ఇన్ ఫ్యాక్టరీస్. Article 24. What are those factories? Actually, we have prohibited employing children. So it prohibits. Article 24 prohibits the employment of the children below the age of 14. As I said, below the age of 14, we treat children. Just to remind you, when we talk about Article 21A, right to education, this article makes it compulsory to send children to the schools between the age of 16 to 14 years. Every child in the age of 16 to 14 years have to be enrolled in schools. That is right to education is. But here we are, in certain cases, we are prohibiting the children to work in any factory, mine and hazardous. When we say such children can support their family in agriculture, in their domestic works, who are children like below 14 years of age, but they should not work in these factories because these are hazardous. People of low age, that is children, cannot take the load of these factories. There may be chemical factories which could harm their health or their vision. Anything could happen in these factories, mines and such hazardous places. So this article prohibits employing children below age of 14 in these hazardous places. So the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act has strengthened Article 24. We have a Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act. So we need to know what child labor is. One thing is, in many factories, children are employed because children could not demand for more salary. They will work for hours together without any fatigue, without any tiredness, and they will not form unions obviously. So child will sit for hours together. For example, if you take BD and cigarette workers, their children will be suitable. So this act prohibits such work by children. So it bans child labor. Employment of children in such hazardous places are banned. Rather, now we have banned children working in dhabas, restaurants or any other places like domestic work as well. We have banned children below age of 14 working in any place. So what we have? Generally in our society, where a family would employ their children for economic needs. So a parent will bring their children to the work so that they could earn little things because of poverty, because of illiteracy and all. So on economic basis, they can be employed full-time or part-time. So this practice, the practice of child labor, will deprive their childhood. వాళ్ళ యొక్క బాల్యాన్ని హరిస్తుంది ఈ యాక్టివిటీ, చైల్డ్ లేబర్ అనేది. ఈ బాల కార్మిక వ్యవస్థ అనేది వాళ్ళ బాల్యాన్ని హరిస్తుంది. వాళ్ళు సరిగ్గా ఎడ్యుకేషన్ తీసుకోకపోతే, సరిగ్గా చదువుకోకపోతే వాళ్ళ ఫ్యూచర్ అంతా అంధకారమయ్యే ఛాన్సెస్ ఉన్నాయి. సో కీపింగ్ ఇన్ వ్యూ ద ఫ్యూచర్ ఆఫ్ ద చిల్డ్రన్, the future of the society, the future of the nation, we have brought many acts which prohibits employment of children in any sector. So for a healthy mind, the children should be in school in that age so that later he could settle in a much better way and build the nation. He would be a part of nation building. So this act, again we had an amendment. This act has been renamed as child and adolescent labor because we have added this word adolescent. Adolescent is where the children is between the age of 14 and 18. So we have renamed this act and we have added the word adolescent. So this act, Employment of Children Act, this act regulates the employment of children in certain industrial employments. We have few sectors, we have 18 such companies which is notified. So the Factories Act is the principal legislation which governs the health, safety and welfare of the worker in the factory. So it is applicable in entire India. So this act also prohibits employment of children, that is, it bans child labor. So we have many things in our culture where small children are employed in factories. They are not paid as per their work. So a lot of exploitation was happening here. So many legislations were brought, but unfortunately we still experience such practices in which is not coming out. No one takes this matters, or we can say the employer, for his greed, for not paying more amount to elders, they will employ children. So this is unfortunate thing. So here we say Child Labor Amendment 2016. In this we have added adolescent also, that is from 14 to 18 years of age. So this in this act, children below 14 years are prohibited to work anywhere, but we have 18 occupations and 65 processes. This is the areas where they cannot work. These are the hazardous occupations which is notified, they cannot work. So stringent punishment is made when some people, if anyone employs child labor, there is a stringent punishment. Punishment could be for 6 months to 3 years. If the same person repeats that crime of employing a child labor, he could be jailed for 3 years and he could be penalized, or the fine would be 20,000 to 50,000 rupees. This act also mandates establishment of a child fund where the amount which is collected from the fines is deposited in that fund, children's fund. So imprisonment is from 6 years to 2 years. If the crime is repeated, then up to 3 years, and fine is between 20,000 to 50,000. So we said that repeated offences is 3 years. The maximum punishment is 3 years of imprisonment. So we have a case, MC Mehta versus Tamil Nadu case. In this case, the employment in hazardous places are prohibited. There was also case Bandhuwa Mukti Morcha versus Union of India 1997. This case has said that the government should establish a fund, and whatever the amount or fines collected by the person who has employed those children should be deposited in this fund, child fund, and there should be a commission. There should be a commission for the protection of child rights. So on this advice, we have established National Commission for the Protection of Child Rights. We have established State Commission for the Protection of Child Rights, and we also have Special Children's Court, because we have seen many cases piling up in general ordinary courts. So for children's cases, there need to be a special children court. So all these commissions will regulate or will guide and will ensure that no children is employed in hazardous places, or the implementation of this law is ensured that such activities is not repeated. So that was Article 24, where we talk about abolition or prohibition of child labor. So here, when we say right against exploitation under fundamental rights, is an important area where human beings and especially children in Article 24 are treated with dignity. Child labor is totally prohibited. Even now, no child labor, no child should work in domestic places also. So child labor in domestic, you forget about all those hazardous places, factories, mines, construction works, railways and all. In domestic also, the child below the age of 14 is not employed. It is being prohibited. So there are many cases where people say, for example, we have child artists working in cinema, serials, stage shows, or also going with parents to help, to be helpful for their occupation. So there are many cases, and Supreme Court said that if they are enrolled in school and their basic things are not violated, they can employ in certain sectors like cinema, TV serials and all. So that is not exploitation. That is they are being recognized for their skills, for their art. So the employer should take all those precautionary things while employing. They should not disturb their privacy. They should not be exploited. They should not be get away something like they don't need to go to school and such things. They have to be properly enrolled in the school. No study hours should be disturbed. So these precautions the employer should take before signing a contract. So child labor is not a child labor. It doesn't come under the child labor where the children is acting in cinemas or serials, such things. So generally Article 24 talks about child labor, prohibits employment of children in factories, and Article 23 talks about prohibition of traffic in human beings. It's a very larger, very comprehensive word, trafficking in human beings. That means treating human beings as a good. So selling, buying is prohibited. It also prohibits slavery, Devdasi system, bonded labor, etc. So this Article 23 and 24 are important regarding human dignity, their employment, their remuneration, wages, conditions of work, etc.